Testing, 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 testing. Okay. Good morning, friends. You hear me? Ooh, I hear me. I don't want to hear me. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Joe. Joe and I have a conversation every morning, just the two of us, before everybody else gets involved. I know you listen. I know Joe listens. So it's a big day today. Does anybody know why? The Giants are undefeated at this moment. And the season has begun. And they are in second place somehow going into today. And so I'm just kind of letting you know, I'm kind of planning to bolt out of here about noon because we actually have a family birthday celebration. We're going to do it with the football and all of that. So that's a fun thing I have going on this afternoon. But actually, the big thing here today is that it is Working the Circle Day, which is a thing that we do every year to kind of give everybody an idea of all the different ways you can get plugged in to the offerings that we have here at Common Thread and grow in the spiritual life. And before we do that, I want us all to just do what we do every Sunday here and have a few moments of grounding. And just so you know, we're going to float right into a very short meditation before we begin. But first, I invite you to respond to the words I'm about to say here. Come as you are, aching, tired, joyful, or seeking. Here, together in love. Set down what you carry and let this be a place of rest. Here, we are held in hope and mercy. Be present to yourself, to each other, and to the divine life that flows through all things. Here, together, we find the common thread of divine life that connects us all. This common thread of divine life in which we live and move and have our being. And I want to invite us to rest in that divine life here for just a moment. So I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep breath. And take another deep breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel grounded and settled. And what I want to invite us into before we begin our Working the Circle Sunday is openness. To be open to what is going to call to us this morning. To be in a place of discernment. So I invite you to just spend a few quiet moments within yourself asking, where do I feel the divine nudge moving me at this moment, this time, and this season of my life? Where are the places I feel called to stretch and to grow? To be connected, to learn, to serve. So we have a lot to go through today. But the deepest thing that we want to do is find a space within us to listen to that still, small, quiet voice. Deep within each of us. The inner light, the indwelling divine, our God, who is lover, beloved, and love overflowing. Amen. And good morning again, friends. So good to see you all here, and welcome to our annual Working the Circle Day. Used to be called Club Day if you've been here for a while, but we wanted to give it a name that reflected with a little more intention what it is that we're talking about here. Because today is about rhythm, and it's about how we move together, not just on Sundays, but through the whole spiral of our common life together. And so if you've been here at Common Thread for any time at all, you are familiar with the term working the circle. And if this is a new phrase to you, you actually couldn't have come on a better day. It's a different kind of morning than we usually come together for, but once a year, we do our best to make very clear all the ways in which we can participate and grow together in community. The practices that shape us, the ways in which we are connected and grow together in our relationships, in our spiritual lives, and the ways we just have fun together. We are not a community built around programs any more than we are one built around doctrine. We are a community built around shared transformation. So what you'll hear this morning aren't pitches or sign up please. Oh, other than Doug. What you're going to hear really are stories. Stories from your fellow humans in this community who've said yes to something here that has helped to shape them. And they're inviting you to consider whether what has helped shape who they are becoming might also help shape who you are becoming. And while not one of us could possibly be deeply involved with everything we're going to talk about today if we actually want to live lives, everything that we do belongs to this community as a whole. So in a way, no matter what calls to you in this time of discernment, you are helping to weave the tapestry of who we are collectively becoming as a whole. So I invite you to take it all in, let your heart notice what stirs, and before we begin, I'd like to invite you to take your phones and click this QR code. And if you are watching online, there is a link for you to go to where this QR code is going to lead. And if you don't get to this today or you're watching, you can also, Jen doesn't have it on the app yet, but she says by this afternoon she will also have a link to this form on the app. So I'll give you all a minute to get there. And so you should see a form. It's a Working the Circle Day 2025 form on the app, and what you'll see are the order of opportunities that are available are going to correspond to the order of our speakers today. So it should be really easy for you to follow. The legend here is going to apply throughout. You'll see what events and groups are child-friendly and or have childcare provided, and the colors correspond roughly to the quadrant of the circle in which we tend to house the event or the group. Because really so much of what we offer actually overlaps throughout the quadrants, but this is what we hope will be a helpful guide as you consider your own intended focus for this fall. So there are check boxes galore on this form for each part of Working the Circle, and all you have to do is click the box beside anything that even remotely interests you. Please note you are not signing up for or committing to anything by checking these boxes. What you're actually doing is simply indicating interest and asking us to reach out to you about it. So between learning all that we do here this morning and making it very simple for you to request more information, I don't think we could make things much easier. And that is thanks to Kate and Jen, who have been working on today's infrastructure for weeks. So let's give them a round of grateful applause. All right, any questions before we begin? You'll have time at the end for all kinds of questions. So if you hold on to them, we'll talk to you then. And I'm going to go ahead and kick us off. Sunday mornings. So Sunday mornings are not the most important thing we do here, but they are the most visible thread of our circle. This is where we gather each week, as we are right now, to be nourished and connected. And it's a touchstone. It's our biggest communal and most consistent communal practice. But this weekly hour and a half only works because people say yes behind the scenes. I spent some time this week counting up the people hours it takes to make each Sunday service happen, from writing a lesson to making coffee to planning the music and meditations to organizing the volunteers and creating the slides and the order of service. And although it might feel like when you just walk in here, everything's just always ready to go, it's not. Count the hours that are spent here on Sunday mornings making things happen, and it's more than 50 combined hours a week. That's not even counting the 25 or so hours required to make the youth programs run. So this is not glamorous work, but I can tell you, for me and for so many others, the invitation to serve from up here or behind the scenes on Sunday can be life-changing. And speaking for myself, I feel so privileged to be able to share my gifts here week after week to create a space where we can all be held and challenged, to be connected and renewed. But my part is just one part. It takes a village of people willing to share their gifts to do Sunday service as well. So if Sunday mornings are a place where you want to stretch your wings a little and contribute in some new ways, we would love to help you take the next step. That could mean filling the liturgist role, or coming early to set up, or even delivering a message one Sunday, or making the coffee, or leading a meditation, or sweeping the floor, or helping us imagine what kinds of new rhythms could arise in 2026. So if you're curious, tick the boxes that apply, and we will reach out to you. And speaking of Sunday mornings, music has become a core element of them here, and Joe is going to speak about that next.
I'm over here. Just kidding. Music is a huge part of how we express ourselves and how we live our values. In fact, Plato said this: music is a moral law. It gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, a charm to sadness, gaiety and life to everything. It is the essence of order and leads to all that is good and just and beautiful. Pretty good, right? Pretty heady stuff. But I think Plato is expressing something that we all feel. That music is a kind of portal into our hearts. It's an access point. Our songs on Sunday mornings help us center our minds, open our hearts, grieve what's been lost, affirm what we believe to be true, and above all, to hope. And with the power that music has, we'd like to explore how to bring music into the life of this community in other ways too. Throughout the week, at different times, in different forms. So today I'm not going to talk too long because I'd really like to hear from you. In the coming weeks, we'll be hosting a roundtable conversation right here in this space, where anyone curious about our musical life together is welcome. You don't have to be a musician or even a good singer. If you care about what music can do for the soul of our community, we'd love for you to be a part of the conversation, part of the dreaming together. We'll talk about what's working, what's missing, and what's possible. And if you want to help us explore new musical offerings or support what's already happening, we'd love to hear from you. So tick the box, and we'll reach out. And if working with our youth is more your speed, then Shelby, ta-da! I'm like, where's Shelby? Where's Waldo? She brought, toys, stuff. Shelby's going to share with you next how to get involved with the youth.
Great. That was beautiful, Joe. My thoughts are a lot more hodgepodgey, so bear with me. Okay, I brought some stuff. I encourage you after service today to look at it. I just pulled some of my go-tos that we use as resources. That way you can get kind of an idea of what we do. So with the kids, really it's an amazing opportunity to be a part of the growth and transformation and development of small people who don't have all the religious baggage that we might. Something that has been amazing to me over the past several years working with them is that I came from this whole deconstructing what I believed, evangelical thing. They don't have that. So we are teaching them fresh. We are, introducing them to developing their own values and their own perspectives on things with the traditions and stories that we have learned growing up, mixed in with the same things that we practice up here, okay? Mindfulness, meditation. We have monthly virtues downstairs, and we do also practice working the circle downstairs as well. So we'll take our monthly virtue and say, how can we do this as a community? How can we do this in a contemplative way, etc. With the kids, we have a lot of fun. If you Sunday morning's great. If you want to be a part of discussion, amazing. But if you want to like have a break and just, play, then that's a great place to join us. So joining us downstairs is the easiest way to experience learning through play, opening your spirit through that creative way. I am looking to add more things. Eventually, we've done a little bit on Sunday mornings. We've done some events that are sort of intergenerational. So there are opportunities for those things as well, and I encourage you to come and play and have fun during those things. But volunteering downstairs is definitely an easy way to do that. We also have our teenagers that are amazing and surprisingly wise. They are so insightful and thoughtful and contemplative. And as much as I want to plan fun games and activities for them, genuinely, they enjoy the discussion. So if you're like, hey, I want to be a part of young people's lives, but I'm interested in going a little bit deeper than just, more of the base of everything, teens is a great place to get involved. They really do enjoy those discussion questions, what would you do in this situation? What if, let's explore and, play devil's advocate and, just get all sorts of different perspectives. And we really welcome that in our specific community. So if you want to see some new perspectives, learn from the people that I consider closest to God, the little ones, then you can volunteer with us downstairs. You can meet our amazing teachers. We have amazing, welcoming, bilingual staff. They're really fantastic. You should say hey to them, even if you're not going to volunteer. And if hanging with the kids isn't your thing, but you do want to be involved in some ways, there are a ton of opportunities. We always need stuff to be cleaned or washed. Honestly, that's like an easy one. We go through snacks super fast. So if you're like, hey, here are some goldfish, fantastic, love it. If you're like, hey, here's some Clorox wipes, amazing. We also have our youth planning team that we're working on developing again. So if you're interested in just being on the developing and learning end of things, planning, then that's something you can reach out to me as well. Brief, really quick, and then I'm going to move on. We do have events and rituals throughout the year. Just a couple examples is we have our baby ritual to celebrate the new births in the community, our kindergartners in that stage of life, our graduates, our kids moving to middle school. We do events around Christmas and Easter, and then eventually we'd like to add more things in, like teen hangouts and maybe even like a parents' night out or something fun like that. So that is what we do. Please look at resources later if you would like to. And even though we said we're not begging for volunteers, I do have a volunteer sign-up clipboard that I'm going to leave on the front table there if you would like to sign up for a Sunday to volunteer downstairs, or if you just want to write some notes to me, that will be there as well. I don't know who's next. You are. Okay.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of our beloved Robin Camus, who is away this weekend and couldn't talk. So just very briefly, we have our Enneagram drop-in group every third Sunday, and we meet from around 11:45 to 1 o'clock. There's about 10 to 15 of us, and we each share a struggle, a success, something we may have failed with. And then Robin helps us to understand some of the Enneagram energies that we might have within ourselves as we go through our stories with her. I have really benefited from this, and I just encourage you to take advantage of this wonderful and very unique offering that our community has. So that's that.
All right. Christy leads our self-awareness work here at Common Thread, but she couldn't be here today, so I'm happy to share a few words on her behalf. And for years, this practice has helped many of us get honest about the patterns that keep us stuck and to begin to loosen them with courage, compassion, and in the context of community. And it's not about fixing ourselves. It's not about pretending we're not reactive. It's about gently noticing what's going on underneath. and learning to meet those places with grace. We're in an exciting moment now because the self-awareness process as we know it is evolving. The leadership team is reshaping it a little bit to be more somatic, more embodied, and more accessible. Some people have expressed concerns with the accessibility, so we're working on some tools for that. But as far as the somatic aspect, if we really want to understand the charge behind our afflictive emotions, the ones that hijack our joy or shut us down, we need to meet them where they live, and they live in our bodies. And I'm really proud of the team that's moving this work forward. They are putting a lot of intention and care into it. And I'll just say this, the practice has changed my life. I've done the worksheets. I've sat with compassionate, trained listeners from this very community. And over time, I've become more aware of the unconscious reactions and old protective patterns that were driving so much more than I could have possibly realized. Sometimes it's a small moment that opens a big door. For me, it was my wife, Maria, making a face in the kitchen. I had a reaction. I did a worksheet. And with support, I traced that one emotion, that one reaction, all the way back to a deeply embedded behavioral pattern that I've been working with and growing through ever since. If you're curious about what this all looks like in real time, we have drop-in demos the second Sunday of every month. So next Sunday, for instance, you can observe the process live down the hall. Our website has a page with the current worksheet, a list of trained listeners, and a way to request support. And this November, we're headed back to the Well of Mercy for a retreat focused on self-awareness, healing, and spiritual deepening. There's not many spaces left for that. I think there's only 2. I'll be there. Christy will be there. Joe will be there. Melissa will be there. A bunch of us will. And if you would like to join us or know any more about the self-awareness practice, tick the box. We will get back to you.
Good morning, friends. My name is Carol, and I help out with the hospitality and events team here at Common Thread. And that encompasses a lot of areas, as Sue mentioned before. We're always looking for helpers for making coffee on Sunday mornings. We provide coffee and snacks in the lobby area. We also host a lot of events during the year. We've got our annual church picnic coming up, and Soup and Bread is always a big hit on Christmas Eve. So we do a lot of events. They're all designed to kind of stitch us together and create community. And we're always looking for people. You don't even have to love to cook or anything. Just, sign up and help out. We always need people to help, set up for events and clean up afterwards. And, of course, if you like to cook and bake, we'll take it. We also do a monthly potluck together in the fellowship hall, and that, it's really just bring your own dish, but there's a lot of opportunities to help out with that as well. So if you're interested, if you enjoy hospitality and you enjoy making coffee or helping with events, come see me after. I'm glad to talk to you. I also am here to talk about community care, which Morgan, she was not able to be here this morning, but we also have a great community care team here at Common Thread. This team supports people for all the life events that happen, whether someone has a baby or whether someone is sick or in the hospital or just needs, some extra care. We have a team that just loves people and loves to reach out. So you can come and either talk to myself or I'll pass your name along to Morgan if that's something that you would be interested in. But hospitality is one of my favorite things that we do here at Common Thread, and I would love to have you on my team. Thanks.
Hello, I'm Suzanne. Imagine this, I have been wishing really hard that I could be 30 years younger and go back to school and do a dissertation about Common Thread. And the reason I want to do that is because I'm fascinated by the stories of of each one of you where you came from in terms of religious upbringing, your first notions about theology, religion, spirituality. I hear people talk about a harsh and fundamentalistic way of starting in the world and ending up here. And I hear people talk about not having any faith when they were young and ending up here, and others like me having a faith and deconstructing a good part of it, keeping parts of it, and ending up here. The point is, these stories really fascinate me. And I can't be 30 years younger, and I don't want to go back to school. But what I do love to do is give dinners at my home. And this is one of the most fun things in my life. So what I'd like to invite you to do is consider coming to my house for dinner. I'm going to have a series of dinners over the next year. And eat good food at my table and be willing to share your story of how I got from there to here and hear the stories of others. I really, really hope that you will participate in this. Thank you.
Sign me up. So we just wrapped up our Primal Wisdom series, if you've been following along. And as we move into this next season, our contemplative and wisdom work is going to be deepening. You'll see that reflected in the ongoing reflections and audio meditations I've been posting on what I keep talking about, Substack. We're imagining that space as a kind of hub, a rhythm of ideas and practices that we can all return to throughout the week, asynchronously and from wherever we are. And of course, we continue to gather for our long-standing weekday Zoom meditation on early mornings. And if you'd like to begin your days in that grounded space, do it not alone, but with other people. Just tick the box. We'll get you connected with that. And we're also hoping to bring back our Sunday morning centering prayer circles soon. In fact, we'd love to expand our in-person rhythms beyond that, to make room for more regular gatherings where we practice silence and stillness and breath together. Because contemplative practice is about more than just staying calm and steady, although that's a lovely fruit. These practices, especially when done in community, help us build nervous systems that can hold love and grief and joy and uncertainty together. They connect us to each other, to the divine, and to the deeper self within and within each other. In other words, these are the practices that nourish the rest of the circle. They deepen us so that our learning, our communal life, and our acts of service come from a place of deep abundance and clarity. So if you're curious about deepening your contemplative life or stepping more into the wisdom work that helps us become more free, more loving, more whole, go ahead and tick these boxes. And in the next couple of weeks, you'll get a short survey asking about what kind of in-person rhythms might work for you so that we can all be more consistent in these practices and support each other together. Don't tick the box. If it's not there, don't do it. Okay, there's an open space. If you're interested in that, you want to tell us what rhythms might work for you. If you want to get together to practice these things more consistently together, go ahead and fill that in and we'll figure it out.
Well, hi, family. My name is Ashley Stevenson, and I'm going to be speaking to you for a few minutes today about our newcomer process that Sue, John, Diane, and myself and Jen have been working on together. So if you're newer to Common Thread, or if you're trying to figure out whether this place could be your new spiritual community, we want you to feel extremely welcomed and without any pressure. And so Sue told me to speak for just a few moments about why this is important to me. So briefly, I'd like to talk about, I showed up at Common Thread August 6, 2023, so about 2 years ago. And I knew from that very first Sunday when I sat right back there that this was going to be my new spiritual home, and it was a place where I could grow and be along like-minded people. So fast forward to earlier this past year, and we were talking about, what should we say about Common Thread? What would the experience be like for a newcomer? And I don't remember a lot of people coming up to me that day, greeting themselves to me. Maybe they did, and I didn't remember. But there was absolutely one thing that I distinctly remember, and that was the Seiberts. If you haven't met John and Lena yet, they are absolutely lovely people. Sorry to make you blush. But I remember John coming up to me, and I just immediately felt very safe, accepted, calm in his presence, just because he was so warm and welcoming. And honestly, I don't even remember anything that we might have talked about that day. But it was just, how I felt that was so important to me, and following that inner voice that was telling me that this was the place where I belonged. So I know personally how challenging and intimidating it can be to join this community where people have such close bonds. They've been here for 10, 20 years, and you want to try and get yourself into that metaphorical circle. But my personal goal is that everyone who walks through that door or joins us online from the click of a button, that you feel the same love that John gave to me that day. And I also believe that newcomers are the most important people in the room, because I feel like that's what we're here to do, is to carry the message of love and oneness to each other and to help each other grow, no matter where we're at on the spiritual journey. So what are the things that we have been working on together for our newcomers? So in the future, we would like to continue our work to have more intentional invitations, like to lunch or coffee, as newcomers become more acquainted with us here, and to have more thoughtful greeting and newcomer cards that we can offer on Sunday mornings to let people know where they actually at in this physical space, and to have a better sense of how we continue to walk the circle together. So as a next step, I have 3 takeaways. One, we are hosting a newcomers meet and greet in 2 weeks on the 21st. So if you are a newcomer, please join us. Sue and I will be there. We will be happy to answer any and all questions that you have, or you can just sit and listen. It's a very warm and welcoming opportunity to get to know one another. And two, if you are a CTC old-timer, we hope that you will also join us so that our newer members can get to know you and feel connected. And last but not least, number 3, if you are interested in helping others or being part of our newcomer group, I hope that you will check the box. So thank you for letting me speak about the newcomer process.
So you can see on the 28th, we are going to have form our Common Thread core team meeting after church. I'm hoping this is one of those places that you feel an inner nudge. The mission for this core group will be simple, but it will be powerful. We will be building on the power of relationships. We will be building on the power of organizing people so that we can make real and tangible change here in Wake County. Today, at that meeting, I'll talk to you about the practicalities of what that means. Today, I just want to tell you a little bit about why it matters to me. It started for me, I really captured my heart when I was at a training 5 years ago for One Wake, and I heard this. Every society has 3 dominant sectors: a governmental sector, a business sector, and a civic sector. Government and business always have a place at the table when big decisions are being made that are going to affect everybody in the society. And the civic sector, not so much. And so that's where One Wake comes in. One Wake is part of a national network of organizations just like ours, 50 of them across the country, 85 years of experience. So One Wake knows how to get people, ordinary people, a place at the table when the big decisions are being made. So if you join our core team, you will learn how to create real substantive change here in Wake County. You'll learn how to build the power of relationships, and you'll learn how to grow in your own capacity for making change. What we do will strengthen relationships here at Common Thread, and what we do will strengthen relationships across our county. And it's on the power of those relationships that we will build the power necessary to make the changes that we need in our county. You probably know right now, maybe you feel right now, there's a whole bunch of despair going around. A lot of problems that we face as a society seem daunting, overwhelming, even immobilizing. But neuroscience tells us something. It tells us that despair becomes less despairish when we take part in meaningful collective action. Maybe we don't solve all the world's problems, but we will definitively solve many problems here in Wake County. And change our county, we will in the process change ourselves. So I hope you'll check the One Wake box. I will contact you. Also, since Kate created that box down at the bottom, on Thursday, the 25th, there's going to be an all-day planning meeting, 9 to 4. Lunch will be included. I'm going to go to it, where we are going to try and take a very lofty goal to bring about 2,000 units of affordable housing here in Wake County and turn that into very practical steps of how we can organize our 48 congregations to be able to get there. So if you'd like to come with me, either talk with me afterwards or go down to that bottom box and say, that thing Doug was talking about, I'm interested in. I'm just looking for 1 or 2 people who might want to go with me on that. All right, next slide. So I am standing in for the remote community, because they are, you might have guessed, remote. I am here to invite you to participate in Common Thread in an online kind of way. Our online/remote folks do all kinds of things together. They'll do discussion groups, they'll do Enneagram groups, book clubs, self-awareness groups, and they do it all together, and they do it all online. So here is the heart of it. We have learned a lot at Common Thread about how to live a fruitful spiritual life. And if you are not in Raleigh, it's really hard to participate. But it turns out those things do translate online. So, our remote group. Also, if you right now find yourself in an in-between space spiritually, you're not where you once were, but you're not yet where you think you're going to be. This group has a lot of experience with that. So they would love you to join them. You'll experience no pressure. They wanted me to make sure that you heard that. No pressure. Nobody's going to sell you anything. Nobody's going to be looking for anything from you except friendship. Online friends for the journey. Now, Cindy, who is part of that group, left Raleigh, moved to Asheville several years ago, wanted to stay apart, and so she's part of the remote group. And when I asked the group what I should say on their behalf today, she said, tell them that we are damn good people and they would be lucky to have us. So if you're looking for connection, and if you're looking for a place that you could belong and explore, this could be the one for you. Click that interest box and you can build community even at a distance.
All right, guys. You ready to have fun? Yeah. Come join me. We're going to do a little bit of mountain biking. Make sure you wear your helmet, not like this, but wear your helmet. The next thing we actually have coming up, though, is paddling. Thanks, Andy, for bringing your paddle. We're actually doing that in October, so come join with us on the Neuse River. And then hikes. On the way here this morning, I had my windows down, and it reminded me why I do this. The sounds of outdoors, the crickets as I was driving through some of the natural areas on the way here, hearing the creeks as I was driving by the lower lying roads. It just brings peace. And so this is a great opportunity to come out and have peace with someone that you're in community with, but also develop community and tighten our knits with each other. So there's simple hikes that we do. We're not doing anything crazy. Bike rides usually on the Greenway, and we'll have PFDs if you're out on the water, personal flotation devices. I'm going to change gears here and get a little more comfortable. Hold on a second here. Yeah. Joe, can you? All right, that'll be it. I won't go any farther. So I think my shirt kind of says it all, volunteering. So I'm here representing Working the Circle on community service components. And I wanted to share with you why I serve and really encourage you to serve. There's lots of opportunities to do so. But I think there are some foundational things, at least for me, to be motivated to go out and serve. And first off, it was just realizing there's a huge need out there. There's a lot of suffering that's going on in our community, and I think if you turn on the news, it's very obvious, but it's going on. And so that was, I guess, one layer, which is pretty simple to accomplish. I think the other foundational thing for me, and I would hope for you, would be is realizing that we live an abundant life. All of us in this room have a significant amount of abundance. I was here last, I don't know when it was, a couple weeks ago, and Scott Shackleton was sharing that when you looked at world wealth, us in the room here, you make up 10% of the world's wealth. You're among the top 10 wealthiest person in the world, which is just mind-blowing to me. And you may not be that person, or may not think that, but you're not far off that statistic. And so we have a very abundant lives. So we have roofs over our head consistently, probably. We have health care. We have transportation that we can depend on. And there's so many people that don't have that. And so for me, I think is realizing those things. And then also acknowledging that my world is so internal, is all up here. I'm like, my to-do list, what's my family up to, what do I need to do, my job, my career, my health, what's going on. And I come here on Sundays to try to put that aside and to open my heart. And these opportunities to serve, I feel like are a great opportunity to really open our heart and connect with others that are in need. Please don't hear me saying about what I'm about to say here or what I'm saying here in general is a guilt trip or saying you're bad for not serving. I'm not saying that at all. There was actually some research done by some folks several years ago looking at what was the motivation for people to actually serve. And one of the things they uncovered is there was kind of really two foundational components that kind of drove it. And one was kind of an ego standpoint. And I don't know about you, but I'm trying to drop my ego. And a lot of times the ego came from actually writing a check or giving money. And basically it kind of came from, they said, those people, those poor people, I'm helping them. And keep in mind, these researchers weren't saying that was a conscious decision or conscious thought that people had, but it was underlying, driving that financial giving, where giving or serving was more of an ego loosening or dropping component. And like I said, I don't know about you guys, but I live up here. I mean, I am in my head, I'm ego-driven, and so, again, coming here on Sundays with the purpose of opening my heart. And so, Sue works very hard to say at the very end, we're blessing ourselves, and the message we've gotten hopefully opens our heart, and then we're giving to others. And so my ask is can we give to others by serving? I guess the underlying belief that I have is that the time that we have that we give to someone makes a difference. And sometimes it's not always that obvious. And so I'd like to share a story. If you're here last year, you may recall this, but several years ago, I was doing a food drive similar to what we're doing right now for Urban Ministries. So, and at that time, we were standing in front of grocery stores as people walking up, educating them about Urban Ministries and asking them to buy some food to donate to Urban Ministries. And a lot of people would say, sure, great, and they'd come out and they would be empty-handed. And again, like right now, I'm not here to make you feel guilty or judge you for serving or not serving or giving money or not giving. And it was just blessing them as they were walking out the door. And then there were people that came and said, yep, we're going to give. And sure enough, they walked back and gave us some food. And there was one lady that I remember. And she came back up and she had a cart full of food. Like my first thought is her week's supply. 2 weeks supply looking at it. And then she had a bag hanging around her wrist of food or stuff in there. She walked up and she just said, listen, Urban Ministries changed my life. And people like you several years ago worked to support me. I probably would not be here today if it wasn't for you or people like you. Normally, we don't have the opportunity to hear that from someone. She pushed the cart to me and walked away with that single bag in her hand. So we can have that impact. And part of it is, can you see it? Not always, but know it's there. And it's powerful, changing these people's lives and changing people's lives. So there's lots of opportunities. They're probably listed up here coming up. So I'd encourage you to check the box to serve. Usually we have something every other month. For the rest of the year, we have it every month. So there's lots of opportunities to come out and not only be eye to eye with someone and potentially help someone, but also behind the scenes serving. And so speaking of eye to eye, helping folks, we have an opportunity coming up in October through Hope Ministries, and Katie's going to talk about that.
So I do have to disagree with one thing that Preston said. Yes, you can see the impact, and yes, you can hear the story of the impact. That's not part of my words, but Saturday mornings, I could cry with his story, because every Saturday morning, someone tells me a story like that. That just breaks my heart. Opens my heart, breaks my heart. This last week, it was a story about somebody giving someone else a tent, an unhoused person living in the woods, much better than living in a shelter. The people that are living in the woods are the people that are accumulating wealth and grounded and doing better often, quite 90% of the time, than the people living in shelters. Now I'm going to say what I timed. And so why do I do this? And it comes out of the Common Thread mantra: if you're here, you belong. So through hot showers, warm meals, clean clothes, and engaging conversation, we come together each Saturday, 52 times out of the year, to remind our housing insecure friends that we see them and we value them. If you were wondering why One Wake matters, and I started with One Wake when One Wake was first starting, that's where I started learning about affordable housing, and now we're doing amazing things in Garner because of the things I learned from One Wake. But each Saturday, I'm doing amazing things with my friends, lifting them up because of things that I learned at One Wake. Come meet the people who need affordable housing. Come meet the people whose traumas have them battling hopelessness. Come meet the people at Hope who will give you hope and friendship and remind you how the fabric of a healthy community is woven together. Come Saturday morning, October 4th, or anytime you want to come anytime, because I'm always there, 8 a.m. until 10:30, or stay longer if you want. Maybe you want to serve some breakfast. Maybe you want to clean a shower. We just go through and clean the showers between each person. Maybe you want to sit and talk to one of our neighbors, and they are our neighbors. There's a man kind of living in my front yard now because he was from Garner, and he lost his housing when his mom died, and he was living in my park, and then he got trespassed at the park. And I had known him since the pit count in January, so I said, what's going on? Take a bin. I gave him a bin. Put your stuff in my yard and sit on my front porch, charge your phone, use my internet. I can't let him sleep at my house because my husband's got these boundary issues. Oh, shoot, this is online. Delete that. So maybe you want to donate men's jeans. Men's jeans are desperately needed. A breakfast item or cash so we can make the outreach grow or sustain. We're getting over 80 people every Saturday morning. Please come and talk to me after, and I will give you so many statistics. I'm part of the continuum of care. I'm doing this. I'm collaborating with people from One Wake. There is so much that we can do. I can tell you so many stories of beautiful people, some who work at your supermarkets and go home to their tents, many of them. Some who work at the supermarkets and go back to the drop-in shelter, many of them. They might be repairing your roads. They are the flag people. They are the ones digging holes on the roads. And they might be growing up with your children. Town of Garner has 649 unhoused children in Garner schools in the McKinney-Vento program. So there is need. And why do we do this? Because these are people. These are our friends. These are us, just in a different living condition. So thank you so much for your attention. Please talk to me. I have so many stories. You give me a situation, and I will tell you a story with a person in that situation. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. I'm Kate Kish, and I'm the community manager here at Common Thread. So I'm glad everybody's here today. We're going to be wrapping up in just a few moments, have some brunch. I wanted to let you know that part of my role is behind the scenes here. So organizing volunteers, helping with event organization, registrations, reaching out to people about this, that, and the other, logistics-wise. So I'm here to support you if you're interested in doing your own event, hosting a dinner, game night, hike, things like that. Let me know, and we can help you get a registration going and get people involved and interested. I also do behind the scenes with the directory, the database, the app, the community bulletin board on the app, things like that. So if you're having any issues with that, let me know and I can help you navigate that. And then I guess one other thing I wanted to say is that having been here for over 10 years, I know almost everybody in this community, and I know them pretty well. And so I know their interests, their backgrounds, things like that, and I really like connecting people. So if you don't feel connected, whether or not you're a newcomer, if you've been coming for a couple years and you still don't feel connected, come and talk to me and I can help you get plugged in. So find somebody who shares your interests or lives in your area of town, things like that. So I think that's it. I did want to mention that there's a couple times when people said click the box, and you may not have seen a box for that. So part of it is because if you're on the app and you go into the registration button, all of the events you can register there. So we didn't necessarily want you to click about all of these events. But also at the very bottom, you can just write anything else you have questions about. The form will come to me, come to Sue. We can reach out to you in the next week or so and answer those questions. And I'll be floating around at brunch to help you with anything. If you want to get yourself in the directory, or you're having trouble with the app, or you can't find the community bulletin board on the app or anything else, let me know. And I think I'll pass it over to you to finish up.
Okay. Thank you, Kate. Yep, I'm bringing up the rear. All right, so one more time, back to the Primal Wisdom series we just finished. And you might remember it's the one where we talked about building our own evolved nest here. You know, one of the core takeaways from this series was this: we need each other, not occasionally, but consistently and intentionally. So next week, we're going to launch our next round of life story groups. Life story groups are one of the core practices at Common Thread. It goes back decades, and they are pretty much what they sound like. You get together with a small group of people, and each one of you tells the other your life story. It sounds so simple, but it's deceptively powerful. Because when we get to know each other in such intimate ways, we cannot help but grow in love for each other. Compassion swells and connection deepens. It's a beautiful way to grow in relationship. I know this from the experience several times over with some of you. And you can't do these groups too often, because we always tell a different story. Every day we wake up, we have a new life story. And and we are always connecting with new and different people. So we're going to learn new stories from different people all the time. So we're going to form these groups after the service next Sunday, both in the room and online. And this fall, we're going to do our best to group these life story groups according to where we live, to see if we can begin deepening relationships with members of our community who live closest to us. And if you're new and you haven't joined anything here yet, if there were one place I would encourage you to consider starting, it would be in a life story group. Many times people come to this community and they're looking for the belonging. Where do I find the belonging? Well, we started in the small ways, and a life story group is an excellent way to begin. And just so you know, in the new year, we're going to begin exploring larger cluster communities. You may be wondering what that's about, where we're forming meaningful circles of care and connection, again, by physical proximity, kind of rooted in shared rhythms and commitments and to mutual support in an ongoing basis in our regular daily lives. And we'll get back to you on that endeavor in January, but our life story groups this fall are our first step in that direction. And we have a lot of other thoughts beyond that for deepening our sense of intentional community here. So I think we tick boxes for this one, right, Kate? I got it wrong before. I know you've heard that, but stay informed, participate as we continue. We're going to become a community that's ever more capable of caring well and deeply for each other. So next week, please be here next week if you can. But again, we can do this online. We'll be forming them beyond the day. But I think we were going to try this morning. We couldn't quite get it together to be seated geographically in groups. Maybe next Sunday we'll figure that out, Kate, to kind of get you already kind of noticing where the people who are your neighbors and maybe you didn't even know are in this community. Because today is Working the Circle Day. And yes, ultimately what the circle is about is being held within that circle in love. The kind of love that is the prerequisite to deep and meaningful transformation, and we want to live that love as fully as we can here. And with that, we have reached the end of our speakers, and I would like for us to give them all a round of applause. All right, do you have any questions? I'm going to invite Kate to be nearby because even more than half the time, Kate has the answers and I do not. But if you've got any questions, feel free. Yes, Jennifer.
Very minute question. On the piece of paper, on the piece
Yes,
of
thank you,
paper
Shereen.
here, it says that the food drive goes until Saturday, September 13th, but on the slide, it said Sunday, the 14th.
It said the 14th. I don't even
Yeah.
think it said
Yeah,
Sunday.
it said, it said the 14th.
So yeah, you can bring food next Sunday.
Okay.
So that'll be the last day to bring food if you're actually physically wanting to put food in the box outside.
In case you didn't hear that, next Sunday is the last Sunday that you can bring food for the food drive.
Hi. I had a question about because I saw it on the website, the morning meditation or I'm not sure. I wasn't sure if that ran all year or if that was just through.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all year. Okay, because I saw it on the website and then I got confused because I would have. Anyway, I think I joined the group. It was kind of felt complicated also trying to join. And then I got Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody has a question about the morning Zoom meditation, John is, check in with him. Did you take time off this summer or you kept doing it all summer?
I brush my teeth every day.
Great. Any more questions? Up, Candy over here.
Yep. Yes, that's right.
I would like to do that's what I want to do, the Life Story group, but I may not be here next week. So if I'm not going to be here next week, then just let you know that I'm interested, or, oops, wrong person.
Kate.
Back there.
All right, Jen's going to tell us what.
Yeah, you can go, there's a form for Life Story groups on the website and the app. I think it's on the homepage of the app, so you can click that. You can sign up now through next week to get, if you're not going to be here next week, for Life Story group sign up.
Yeah, one of the
And I'll
things.
post the link in the community bulletin board too.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits to being here, if you can be here, is again, we're going to try to be sort of geographically centered, and we've just found it goes really well if you're in person and you can kind of like connect with each other quickly and talk through what's possible in terms of meeting. But yes, there are other ways to do it too. We can also do it online, and there will be an extended period, a week or so, to be able to figure that out. So don't worry. If you can't be here next week, we'll get you in a group if you want to be in one. Any more questions? I mean, if there's not many more questions, that means all of you speakers did an excellent job making things very clear this morning, and that's wonderful. Well done, well done. Okay, I think that's it. Is that it? All right, I think we're gonna bring people out. All right, folks on the live stream, so glad that you joined us this morning for Working the Circle Day, and I hope that if you have any issues clicking on things, again, reach out to Kate. Kate will get you squared away to figure out what it is you need to do to get signed up for what's calling to you. And if it's your first time watching us on the live stream, yeah, this was a little bit of a different Sunday, but we're so glad that you joined us. And if you're joining us live and you want to have a conversation about all of the things that we do here on Common Thread and how you might want to become involved with them, there is a link in the comments below the video that says, what are you thinking? And click on that link. It'll take you to a Zoom call with the remote folks that Doug spoke about before, Cindy and crew. They are some of the best people we know, and they would love to bring you into the conversation this morning. You'll need a code to get in. It's 1417. And so if you're at all hesitant, but you want to kind of dip your toe in, go ahead, give it a shot, take a risk. I think that you will not regret it. And if you're watching at a time other than Sunday morning, there is another link in a comment below that one where you can request a newcomer's email, which is not going to be, which is similar to the regular one that we invite people to click on when they come to see us here. But this one has a little more remote specificity. So again, no pressure, but you can learn more about us by clicking on that email. And with that, friends in the room, can we dismiss our friends on the live stream by putting our hands over our hearts and remembering that working the circle, we draw from the divine life within us when we do it, that divine life which is steady and there and growing in us, and that we are called to share with the rest of the world. And so let's extend our other hand to our city and to our world. This week, as we think about working the circle, let's bring what is in us to everyone with whom we live, with whom we work, with whom we go to school, everyone we encounter on the street, taking seriously our commitment to be healers and repairers of our world. Amen. Folks on the live stream, God bless you. You are dismissed, and I'm so sorry that you can't join brunch this morning, but the rest of you, bon appetit.